So we've done some of the final bit of preparation for the bed to go on our old F100, including getting the shocks mounted, the tabs welded up and painted. We ran heat shrink wiring from our fuel sender and our fuel pump, and we made a little harness and ran it inside the frame here. Took the drive shaft and parts today to have that cut down and made, so we're hoping that they're not going to have to sell us a new tube for that, because we did find a little bit of a dent. So today's agenda is getting this bed prepped and ready for Raptor liner, which we've got 80 grit. Sorry if it's windy out here. We've got 80 grit for our electric DA. We'll start out by just hitting it with the air gun and get rid of some of this loose paint that's in the jam. And then we'll sand the big areas and scuff the small. So here we go. Sorry for the noise, it's windy and cold today, but I've got the bed set up on its end. Now it's time to start prepping the bottom side so we can spray both of them at the same time. So all the abrasive work is finished now, scuffing it in little small areas and such, which on the bottom of the bed, really the most crucial area is where like the tire's gonna live and sling rocks potentially and gravel. That's where you really want it to be prepped pretty well for the bed liner. But it's not like the inside of the bed where potentially parts and stuff are gonna be in here, maybe getting drug around and would scrape and peel it out. So this is the most important side, which we took a lot of time and prepped that, as you saw a couple of minutes ago. This side, I've spent a lot of time on 80 grit on all the flat surfaces and in the wheel well openings. And then I used red scuff pads and went in all the nooks and crannies and knocked all the loose stuff off. We will, as you'll see, use paint primer mix aerosol black spray paint, because that can get in these small areas and give us a lot better coverage, and it also has good rust prohibitive stuff, whatever the word is. Anyway, prevention, we'll go with that. And that'll help our Raptor liner go a lot further as well, because honestly, we're just looking for that look on the bottom of this bed. It's not so much about the protection, and mostly just preventing the rust. We'll get some masking tape and stuff on here. Maybe wait and spray it till tomorrow. It's 52 right now and pretty windy, and I really need the door open to spray this stuff because of the fumes. So I'm afraid it wouldn't cure properly. Anyway, until tomorrow. Taped up, let's get it sprayed up. Now that was the hustle trying to get this finished up. Pro tip when you're doing Raptor liner, probably bring a buddy or have a helper that can be mixing up the next bottle with the activator, so you don't have to run your gun dry very long before you change it out, because there's like this delay of getting it fed through the siphon gun and kind of getting the pattern to sort of even out. Otherwise it's just sort of splatter. You probably saw me do that on the inside of the bed, just kind of hitting it in the middle before I went back to the area where you're focused on. This is the bottom side, like we talked about earlier. It's not super concerned about its texture being even and nice, mostly that it's just coated. But I did want to be have a nice job done in the wheel wells, which that should be accomplished. But in the bed, of course, is where you want to focus your attention, making sure that you get it nice and even. And one thing I've learned, even if you see that you've sprayed stripes in it, you can kind of back it off a little bit and then just dry spray it from a distance, and that'll sort of even out the texture. Even if you still see lines, like the camera may pick up something that's kind of hard to tell. Even if you do see areas that look a little different, in just a short amount of time, those will kind of even out and it'll all look basically the same. Don't stress about it when you first spray this. Also, take your tape off while it's still pretty tacky, especially if you have what I call a hard line. A hard tape line is where, like what we did on the top edge of this tailgate, where we basically sprayed right against the tape and then we peeled that off. If you wait too long, either the tape won't tear properly and you'll end up with little bits and pieces stuck in the material, or it can peel the material with it a little bit if you're not careful. But it was all prepped with 80 grit and cleaned really well, and I wiped it with lacquer thinner before I before I used the tape and started painting on it, which makes it stick really well also. That's handled. So now we can just get it put back on the truck. I have some parts that are here for the next video, but I also had something else show up by request from new customer. Just that. Yep. That's all you get. Anyway, that project will probably be intermingling with the 64 F100. Maybe it'll keep the content more fresh for you guys, so it's not all the same thing every time we're working on it. Anyway, appreciate you guys watching. Hope you learned something about Raptor liner. I know there's a billion videos out there, and there are many like this one, but this one is mine. Appreciate it. We'll see you guys later.